unpacking today's headlines. This is Souls and Liberty in Depth.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to In Depth, a production of Souls and Liberty brought to you in partnership with MyPillow.com. There's a new sheriff in town, Donald Trump, and he's priming his deputies to take down the deep state and rebuild everything from America's legal system to its intelligence and educational infrastructure.
We're getting a better sense of just how radical he wants his second term to be. He is appointing ultra-loyal, but true believers in his cause who will do exactly what he wants in government.
More on Trump's middle finger to the Marxist establishment in a moment, but first.
You can't allow young children who are trusting their parents or trusting the state around them to have their best interest in mind to be exploited in this way.
Another day, another mind-blowing set of second-term appointments by President-elect Trump. Here to discuss all this with us today is Souls and Liberty contributor Arthur Clareau. I'm your host, Stephen Wynn, coming to you from Kansas City. Arthur, let's get right to it. You are based in Toronto and I'm in KC. And recently we can both, I think, hear the howls coming from Washington hundreds of miles away. We certainly heard them yesterday when Trump picked Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz to serve as our next Attorney General and former Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard to serve as Director of National Intelligence. I want to get your thoughts on both of these picks. First, Gaetz as possible AG.
Yeah, so the howls are right. Gaetz as the possible AG is just one that's thrown many of the insiders there for a loop. He is not one that falls in line. Let's put it that way. He's not one to toe the line, and he hasn't in Congress, and he's been a bit of a wild card to some. But one thing about him is that he is going to come in, and he is definitely going to be cleaning house as AG if confirmed. Now that's going to be tough. There are many already who are saying he's not going to get past the Senate. Let's see. It's a Republican Senate. It's a Republican mandate. Let's see. One interesting thing, though, about Matt Gaetz is, or a couple of interesting things, actually, he's one of the few who has not taken significant amounts of money from AIPAC, for example. So he is more, which is very rare among Republican congressmen or Republican elected officials at all, which is an interesting, it almost makes him a bit of a standout just there. But then secondly, he the minute that Trump announced that position, the ADL went wild. And the ADL, for those who don't know, is one of those groups that has been behind the censorship, very deeply involved in the censorship of conservatives on social media, very, very much anti-American, very, very pro-communist in many, many, many ways, and is really the source of so much of cancel culture. So when the people behind cancel culture hate that you've been put in the top judicial role in the country, you're doing a good thing. That just might be the right pick.
Yeah, I think Trump is going to need someone like Gaetz in that position of Attorney General. Gaetz is 100% committed to Trump and his agenda. Trump needs a loyalist in that position because whoever becomes AG, whether it's Gaetz or someone else, they're going to be tasked with really purging the Department of Justice of leftist elements. That's going to be an incredibly difficult task. Whoever is, finally named Attorney General is going to need guts and determination and persistence, really, in Catholic terms, courage and fortitude. I think Gaetz is the man for the job, if only because of the volume of the screams coming out of DC. All right, now, Arthur, I want to get your thoughts as well on Tulsi Gabbard as Director of National Intelligence.
You know what? That's another great pick. From Donald Trump. There were a lot of people who were concerned with certain choices he had made over the last few days that were more, they were hawks on China, hawks on Israel, a little bit more war hawks. And so this is going to give those people a sigh of relief. Tulsi Gabbard is the opposite of that. She's very much a non-interventionist. I mean, she's spoken against for years now, she's spoken against the interventions in Syria, the interventions in Libya. She's spoken against the war in Ukraine and the way that was handled. There are so many issues here on which she takes a stance that the more moderate Trump supporters, the kind of centrists and independents who had concerns around this and who voted for Trump will very much appreciate, along with a lot of people on the right who are just tired of foreign interventions and America last policies. So she's going to be great on that. As the director of national intelligence, it's funny because she was on a no-fly list placed there by the Biden-Harris administration for opposing some of their positions, and now she's in charge of the no-fly list. So she's going to be a key and very instrumental person. Again, a connection between Trump and the intelligence communities, and she's going to have a similar job probably to Gates, but at the same time, it's going to be interesting because she's kind of this like I said earlier, balancing figure amongst the intelligence apparatus, which is going to be, I see it as a very hopeful and a very positive choice. One quick thing about her, I think what expresses the way that she feels about the current state of the United States, and this will apply to how she handles the intelligence agencies and what the intelligence agencies are doing, both in the United States and outside. She had a quote when she left the Democratic Party, which is the party she ran for president for, and the quote was, "I can no longer remain in today's Democrat Party that is now in complete control by an elitist cabal of warmongers driven by cowardly wokeness who divide us by racializing every issue with anti-white racism, actively working to undermine our God-given freedoms." A statement like that takes a lot of bravery. So this is someone who's served in the military. She's served on committees related to intelligence. She has the right vision and she's aligned with Trump, but at the same time brings a new perspective and I guess a moderate voice to a room full of really great, but probably a little bit more, strong men as far as international policy goes. So a lot to look forward to there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really excited about Gabbard being picked. As you said, she's anti-war, pro-America, anti-left, and a total patriot, basically. I think the ringing endorsement of her is the fact that she's so hated by deep state interests, by those on the left. In 2019. Hillary Clinton came out and denounced her as a Russian asset. And then, as you said, just earlier this year, she was put on the terrorist watch list for all she did was criticize Biden's and Harris's support of the military industrial complex. And so in doing so, she ran afoul of the communist regime in this country. I think that's exhibit A on why she is the right candidate for the job. And I just love the irony. As you said, she's going to be overseeing these various agencies now. So that's great. Good stuff. When we come back, we're going to shift gears a little bit and look at Trump's plans to revolutionize American education. Stay tuned.
The establishment has tried to assassinate President Trump twice. But we can't really be shocked that those who slaughter 1 million unborn babies each year would try to kill one more human being who stands in the way of their diabolical agenda. Trump, like every one of us, including all of us at Souls and Liberty, is a sinner. But like all of us, he is in the fight and fighting for all of us to get one more chance, maybe a last chance, to save the republic. We must hang together, or as Benjamin Franklin said, we shall hang separately. And maybe far sooner than many imagine, because communists take over and always persecute Christians and Catholics in particular. Let us help you fight these forces of evil. Become a monthly supporter today so we can continue giving you the information, the tools of our faith, and the support network you need to go out and save souls and save our nation. Join our merry band of happy warriors and click below to get into the fight. We need you, we need each other. Join the resistance. Become a monthly donor today.
During his campaign, Trump floated the idea of eliminating the Department of Education, the leftist behemoth responsible for poisoning more minds and souls than even Hollywood. And that's no exaggeration. Trump recognizes fully the catastrophic state of American education and has described it as such.
The United States spends more money on education than any other country in the world, and yet we get the worst outcomes. We're at the bottom of every list. In total, American society pours more than $1 trillion a year into public education systems. But instead of being at the top of the list, we are literally right smack, guess what? At the bottom. Rather than indoctrinating young people with inappropriate racial, sexual, and political material, which is what we're doing now, our schools must be totally refocused to prepare our children to succeed in the world of work and in life and the world of keeping our country strong.
Arthur, expand on this a little bit. Explain to us why upending the education industrial complex is so critical to making America great again.
Yeah, absolutely, Stephen. There's a couple of things here that really matter. One of them is, since the establishment of the Department of Education, educational results, the scores, have steadily decreased. Every single year, America's getting worse in its education. And if this was a business and you started it and every single year your profits were getting lower and lower and lower, you'd ask what's wrong with it. Something's not right. And I think around 2020 is when a lot of parents really realized what was happening over at the Department of Education. Beyond just the failure on the fundamentals, there was this new infusion that had been going on for a while with sort of, well, obviously Marxist, but very destructive, very dangerous ideologies being injected into small children's minds. It's, it's part of the gender identity movement was very deeply involved there. The racist, so-called anti-racism movement was very deeply injected in there. So much anti-Americanism and just ideological nonsense being pushed on small children, as opposed to teaching them the basic things. These are kids who can barely write, who can't pass math tests, who can't do the fundamentals, and yet are being taught all of this, Marxist garbage. So that is one of the main reasons why the idea to remove it from federal oversight and take that and give that back to the states is the idea that Trump has. Another aspect of this too is, if you speak with teachers, they are frustrated beyond belief because they are tasked with an impossible role, which the good ones who are really trying, which is to try to teach and train and raise these children, while at the same time having absolute inability to deal with the problems within the classes. There are children who cause all sorts of problems. I mean, ranging from just being disruptive and problematic to school shootings, right? This is a huge range, but it's a lot of issues: drugs, bullying, all these sorts of things. And the teachers are handcuffed. The schools are handcuffed, essentially, in how they deal with that. So a revamping of that system just in general is needed, just to get rid of a lot of this stuff and kind of and refocus it again, like so much of what Trump is doing, refocus it on excellence. There's no reason why America cannot be in the top countries as far as educational systems, as far as educational results. And that's going to take some real soul searching and looking and an ability to accept difficult truths and shift policy to fit those truths. And I think that's why going back to the states is his solution. At least there, it's at a smaller scale, and they're able to better shape their policies to fit their populations. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. When I was growing up, American public schools were simply bad. I've been amazed at the transformation over the past couple of decades. All they do now is turn out practically illiterate Marxist, just angry little Marxists these days. You wonder why your kids and grandchildren are dyeing their hair blue and are devoted to Marx and Mao and Che Guevara. It's because of the school system. It's nothing but a vehicle for indoctrination into communist thinking. It's awful. When we come back, we're going to look at Trump's plans to end transmania once and for all. Stay tuned.
Because of your overwhelming support, our $14.88 MyPillow has been one of the biggest sales in MyPillow history. I couldn't think of a better way to say thank you than to extend our wholesale pricing through Christmas. Get a classic standard MyPillow for only $14.88. Upgrade to a queen size, just $18.88. King size, only $1 more. Get my body pillows for only $29.88. And ready? Multi-use MyPillows, only $9.88. It's perfect time to stock up for Christmas gifts for everyone on your list. Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our wholesale pricing. Including my classic standard MyPillows, only $14.88. But that's not all. I'm so confident you're going to love our classic MyPillows that I'm going to extend my 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st, 2025. Plus, orders over $75 ship absolutely free.
As part of his plan to overhaul American education, Trump is targeting communist indoctrination, including its weaponization of gender both inside and outside the classroom.
My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination and the elimination of federal funding. As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent.
Arthur, this is incredible. Under Trump, it appears that America may finally emerge from its decade-long retreat into mass psychosis and finally take a stand against the trans mafia.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's so important. For example, let me give you some numbers here, Stephen, that I came across the other day. Just between 2019 and 2023, so just in the last couple of years, 13,000 children have received sex change treatments. 13,000 children. Nearly 6,000 sex change surgeries were performed on children. 62,000 hormone and puberty blocker prescriptions were written and given out. And the medical industry that's been that's been doing this has made nearly $120 million just on sex change treatments for minors alone. So it's a big deal. We know many people who've been going through this, who are, struggling with, an ex-spouse who does something like this for whatever reason. And it's horrible. You can't allow young children who are trusting their parents or trusting the state around them, to have their best interest in mind, to be exploited in this way. This is going back to what we said earlier about Matt Gaetz. This is one place where he's going to come in strong as the AG under Trump with this agenda, is going after and investigating big pharma, investigating the big hospital networks, finding out what's been going on here. Have they been prescribing these things without proper evidence? Because there is not proper evidence. These were not tested prior and well known. This is very novel, which will come as a surprise to some people, considering how common it's become. And going after, again, in the Department of Education, the teachers and the groups that have been pushing this on children there as well. There's going to be so much to this particular issue, but it does seem like it's a really big part of Trump's initial agenda, and thank God for that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the ferocity with which this entire movement has been thrust upon us, it goes beyond, I think, mere ideology. I think you're right. You pointed out the financial motivation. I think there's a lot of greed underlying it as well. I've just been amazed in the past 10 years to see how how much the transgender movement has come to the fore of American culture, American society. You know, the Supreme Court legalized so-called same-sex marriage in 2015 in its Obergefell v. Hodges decision, imposing that regime upon the United States, much like Roe v. Wade did with abortion in 1973. And you know, rather than placating, you know, satisfying LGBT activists, it energized them, it empowered them, and the trans tyranny came along immediately after that. Thankfully, its its demands and its effects are so insane, so contrary to natural law, to basic common sense, that you know, tens of millions of Americans, you know, even many people who are unchurched, who may have no, you know, no formal religious training, they recognize the lunacy because it's staring us in the face. So anything Trump can do to push that tsunami back, I think, is going to be of great benefit to the country. All right, Arthur, very good discussion and analysis as always. Thank you for joining us. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us here on In Depth. God bless you.